Hi online people, today we're going over some of the study guide. We're going to talk about the presentation and anything else we want to talk about. We're welcome to go the whole time, but people are like, yep, looks good. That's cool too. Yeah? Quest away!
So Tuesday, are we meeting here, or is it just
Take the exam. Yes. Yeah. So if you want to take it today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that's fine, but Tuesday we don't have a class because theoretically you're there working on the exam, even though half the world is traveling. Yeah.
It's due at 11:55.
Yes. Central time? Yep. Yeah.
And then our last one was during the lab time on Tuesday.
The
The final week.
Yes.
And then our lecture exam is that Thursday at 9:25, what we decided?
Yes. Yep.
Which is just 30 minutes.
Yep. Oh, and I have a question. So I was writing the exam last night for you guys. It takes me longer, but I was writing the exam. I probably won't put it on, but abuse me. Well, I will. The last question I'm gonna put on just because it abuses me, but you'll get points regardless. Yeah. Some people heard, not everybody heard. The exam 3 that's open now, that one, it's for your full 75 minutes. I don't think it will take you that long. I seriously doubt it will take you that long. It's open book, don't cheat. Yeah. Looking stuff up is not cheating. Cool. Questions. Do y'all remember what all this covers? It's blood, formed elements, what stuff's in blood, why bleeding is bad and how to stop it. The heart I actually had a hard time with writing some of this because, like, I didn't want to get weirdly tricky, but a lot of them are just like diagram pictures, meaning what part is this? So if you either own a heart diagram or have memorized it, that should work. Do people remember the difference between arteries and veins? Yeah. Ooh, other question. Sorry, I'm just randomly thinking about things now as I'm looking at my list. Does the heart oxygenate blood? Yeah, it does not. Sorry. Yes, you're correct. It does not. It does not oxygenate blood. Respiratory system. The different parts. A little bit about air pressure. A little bit about surfactant. People remember that one? The digestive system has a fair bit, right? Different structures. What does the stomach do? Can somebody briefly walk us through the difference between what the stomach does and what the small intestines do?
The stomach is like just breaking it down like further into like smaller molecules. And then the intestine, like in the first part of the intestine there are like more enzymes, but it's primarily like the absorption stuff.
Yep, she's right. All people, basically, stomach's mostly breaking stuff down. Intestines are where you're absorbing stuff, mostly. And there are some weird exceptions, right? Like you can absorb alcohol through your stomach, but like in general, yeah. Beautiful. Sorry, Ooh, this one, how come the digestive system doesn't digest itself? Yeah, you've got this nice little mucosal lining. You've got some goo that's all basic. You have tight connections between these cells. And the system transports anything that like digests protein carefully, right? You don't activate all your pancreatic enzymes until they're where they're supposed to be. Yeah, and then like with hydrochloric acid, right? Because it can denature certain proteins. Once it leaves the stomach, 'cause the stomach's super protected. Once it leaves the stomach, you try to neutralize that really fast. Yep. Is it good to have a little bacteria buddy living inside of your GI system? Yeah. That's one of the essay questions. Discuss or something. I think I say more than that. I think something about like ulcers or I don't even know. Urinary system. It's basically kidneys. It's basically all kidneys. Though you should know the other parts, right? Ureters. What's the difference between the urethra and the ureters? Perfect. I mean, you guys could have written the exam. What are the kidneys trying to do? Yep. Getting rid of nitrogen, filtering. Any weird, fancy, special stuff kidneys can also do? Like, they can do these things. Okay with that? They can do blood pressure. They can do acid base. They can keep other random gunk out. Sorry, I don't know if this is helpful. Is this being helpful? Okay. Ooh, this one's tricky. I shouldn't say this one's tricky. You'll be fine. This one's a little bit tricky, but what's the difference between... So, the kidneys are making urine. Yay for them. There are these 3 steps that happen in order. Glomerular filtration, tubular resorption, and then tubular secretion. What's the difference between glomerular filtration, which is getting stuff out of blood, and tubular secretion, which is also getting stuff out of blood? Yeah.
And then the tubular secretion is as it's like the capillaries are next to the tubules in the kidney, like
perfect.
Push.
Yes.
Actively transport stuff out.
Yes. Absolutely. So sorry, I feel weird like always repeating it, but it's really hard otherwise for online people. The difference is because glomerular filtration is that like first filtration where it's basically you dump basically blood plasma minus proteins into the kidneys. And then later tubular secretion is that last check, that like checking your pockets for garbage right before you take out the trash, right? The last check, you've got your little capillaries right there next to the collecting duct, and then you dump anything out that you need out as well. I didn't realize this one was tricky until I was trying to write matching answer questions for this. I'd be like, my matching answer questions are very similar, so I need to, make them less similar. We only sort of touched, well, we touched on it last class. If the body's too acidic, what do the kidneys do? Yeah, it can dump hydrogen, right? If the body's too basic, what do the kidneys do? Yeah, bicarbonate. So it's very straightforward. Like, yep, either I keep this or I dump it. Okay, are any of these looking like? Did we even talk about this? Sorry, is this too fast?
Can you explain what causes ulcers?
Aha. Yes. Recently I had a conversation with my brother, and he was like, you know what's wrong with teachers? I'm like, tell me. He's like, teachers, when they're asked a question, they don't answer it. They just launch into some other thing. I'm like, listen, it's part of my job. So, bacteria causes ulcers. But the teachery part of me wants to be, the stress causes ulcers, true, false? It does not. People think it does, or they used to think it did, but it doesn't. You can like sneak up behind people and poke them with a stick as much as you want. They can be like super stressed out. Does not cause ulcers at all. Spicy food doesn't cause ulcers either. If you have ulcers, stress makes it slightly worse. And if you have ulcers, spicy food hurts. But bacteria is what causes it. And you can treat it with antibiotics. You can be like, boom. And then you're fine. It's a little bacteria buddy called H. pylori. There can be like some weird cancers that cause it too. But bacteria is what causes ulcers. And some people are more prone to it than others. So like, you might have H. pylori hanging out in you, and somebody else might have it hanging out in them. And for whatever reason, your body's cool with it, and their body's like, ah! Yeah. But yeah, if you ask most of your parents, they'll say like, oh yeah, it's stress, because that's what, until recently, that was what was thought. But like, there's really strong evidence that nope, it's not stress. But again, if your stomach hurts and you're stressed, it does make it worse. Yeah. This one, I realized I asked you like 5 times in the lab exam. I tried to have them be different, but I realized I asked the same question over and over in different ways. How come the intestines, the small intestines especially, are so good at absorbing stuff? Yeah, they've got so much surface area, right? And so just, they've got a lot of time to absorb stuff. Beautiful. We're cool on the main regions of the heart. What do valves do in the heart? Sorry. Yeah. Both of you said, I heard, I'm not exactly sure who I think is from you, they make it so the blood doesn't go backwards. Yeah. If you've ever, like, pumped something with something that, like, leaks, you realize this is a problem. You're like, no, you need it to keep going. I like this one. The heart's a double pump. Tell me more. Perfect. Is everyone cool with that? That you've got this pump that's going to the lungs, the pulmonary circuit, and then you have the systemic circuit that everything else. Yeah. And this is where that sneaky, so I realized that's in the, you could think of it as the respiratory system or the cardiovascular system, but your cardiovascular system. But that's the sneaky, do arteries always carry oxygenated blood? They don't, you're right. But they're always carrying away. Hence the A for way, A for arteries, carrying away. But if you're carrying blood away from the heart to the lungs, it's deoxygenated, hits the lungs, gets oxygenated, and then comes back. Great. You want to keep blood inside of the blood vessels most of the time, right? Like, bleeding is bad. Do white blood cells need to stay inside the blood vessels? They don't, yeah, they can just squiggle out, and it's kind of cute. They just, like, squeeze between. But, like, red blood cells, you want to stay inside. You don't want them just, like, leaving. What does blood do? Transfer stuff around the body, whether that's oxygen, whether that's white blood cells that take out parasitic worms, whether that's, I didn't actually ask that question in the thing. I wanted to. But I thought that was like a weirdly specific one. Be like, if you have parasitic worms, what type of blood cell do you need? It transports heat around. Blood is warmer than the rest of you. Yep. Ooh, what's in blood plasma? What's the stuff that's in it? Water. Proteins, platelets. Yeah. Gatorade plus protein, basically. Yeah. Sugar should be there. Not too much, right? But enough. while you're thinking about this for a sec, I'm going to go pull up the rubric I sent to the Gen Bio folks for their presentation. I'll go over it with you. It's going to be very similar. I will use that as a template to send yours. I'm sorry I didn't send it. I legitimately thought I had. Oh gosh. Okay. Lab final. Okay, so online people, we're going to talk about the paper. I'm not exactly sure about the point. How many points is this thing worth? I'm really hoping it's worth like 45.
Wait, are we writing a paper with it? Or just
Nope, it's just presentation. Yeah, it's presentation. Sorry, did I say paper? I meant presentation. It's presentation. So if it's not 45 points, I'm going to scale these appropriately. This again is the Gen Bio folks. But explain the background, right? Don't just be like I made crap up. Be like, oh, other people have looked at the importance of exfoliating your feet for better, I don't know, whatever. How about, I need an example that we should go for. Anybody have a good example? How about, does microwaving food really make the nutritional content worse? It doesn't. But have you heard that before? Like, oh, if you microwave food, you get rid of the nutrients? Oh, okay, well, never mind. I have so many random conspiracy theories that I've heard. I've heard people say, I kid you not, I have heard people say, like, oh, if you microwave water, it destroys the protein structure of the water, and it makes it very unhealthy. Like, okay. First of all, yes, you know. Anyways, okay. To be fair, if you cook anything long enough, you can destroy it, right? This has happened when you burn things. But okay, yes, you have a question. Okay, thank you. It's worth 30 points. So these will be scaled slightly, but explain some background, right? So like, this is how either microwaves work, or the importance of not denaturing proteins for nutrition or whatever, right? You explain something like, I have some background idea of what's going on here. This is my question. The question I was asking was like, you know, does food lose nutrient value when microwaved, right? This one's easy to get mixed up sometimes because you can do the exact same thing, but absolutely not have a research question. You can be like, I'm gonna microwave food and see what happens, versus does it lose nutrient value? You can do the same thing, get the same results, but if you have a question, you can actually answer the question, as opposed to being like, here's the results. Does that make sense? If you're like, I wonder if raccoons live in my attic, it's a question you can answer. Yes, they do, no, they don't. If you're just like, I'm gonna go poke around my attic and see what's up there, you're not answering a question. Fair enough? Great. So you have a question, you explain what you used, you're like, I ate nothing but microwave meals for a week. I had the exact same meals, but I warmed them up on a pan the other week, and I measured my energy, tested my blood sugar, and I don't know, charted my rate of fingernail growth. I had absolutely no difference between either things both weeks. Looking at the research, it looks like microwaves are just fine and dandy. These are basically, honestly, on your rubric, I'll probably get rid of this one. Just interpret the results, what it means. These ones, I'm going to get rid of a lot of these ones for you guys too. It's mostly a freshman thing. I'm like, please, I don't care what you do, really. You can do whatever format, but don't just print off a Wikipedia article and read this Wikipedia article. Please don't do that. And this isn't going to be a problem for you. You'll be on Zoom. You can do whatever you want on Zoom, right? but don't just like weirdly freak out your neighbors. And at least pretend to be interested. So sometime over the presentation, ask a question. You don't have to be engaged. You just have to pretend to be engaged. All right? Listen, I shouldn't say this on camera, but faculty meetings on Zoom are amazing. I'd like to point that out. I ask questions. I'm somewhat engaged. Yes. No, you're good. I'm just goofing around. Time frame. Please don't have me more than 15 minutes. Good heavens, don't have me more than 15 minutes. If you want more than 15 minutes, let me know. Probably about 5. Is that about the right timing for people? 5 to 10? Basically, please don't feel rushed, but you don't need to pad this. If you're like, yep, that's what I did. I'm not going to be there with a stopwatch, being like, I won't do that. But if it's like a 30 seconds of, well, I, saw what happened if I snorted cinnamon up my nose. It's bad. Don't snort cinnamon up your nose. And that's it. I'll be like, well, yeah. This one, I'm not trying to be sneaky or trying to catch you out with stuff. I will add, so on the one that you'll get, I will add something here about please cite some sources. Have, I think, at least 2 peer-reviewed sources of like, yep, I can read scientific papers. Questions? Yes, I'm going, after this class, I will send this to you. Oh, also, how are people's grades? Like I don't care about the number, but like, are you missing chunks? I don't think we're missing anything. Okay, if you are, please let me know. I'm trying to make sure everything's on track, but wrong thing. This one. Anything else? Yep.
Do you know when our lab 3 will be graded?
The lab exam 3?
Yeah.
When did that close? Did that close on today? Did that close on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, then today. Yep.
Are you just gonna drop all those quizzes?
I'll do it at the very, only if it helps your grade. So if your lowest quiz is higher than your overall class score, I won't drop it. It doesn't happen, but I've seen it happen like twice, where like people like bombed all the exams, but did really well on the quizzes. Then dropping the lowest quiz doesn't help them. But yes, I'll just go through and look. Yeah. Does anybody have any concerns about that? If I just go through, find the lowest quiz and just drop it? Okay. Cool. I think that's it. But, sorry, I don't want to waste your time, but I also don't want to be like, go away if you're like, but learning. Cool. Blood, the heart, the respiratory system, the digestive system, and the urinary system. Basically, things coming in you, things going around you, things going out of you. Nobody? All right, in that case, you are a fantastic class. I will see you in person on Zoom, not in person, but on Zoom on Tuesday after Thanksgiving. It'll be beautiful. Try not to get all the diseases over the break. And yeah.